Coming up on First at 4, more hearings on what went wrong at the rally where a gunman tried to kill former President Donald Trump. And the speculation continues about who will be Vice President Kamala Harris's running mate. We'll have the latest from the campaign trail.
And we have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings and a thunderstorm watch in effect for parts of the area. We'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Mountain News First at 4 continues.
Good afternoon again. I'm Steve Hensley. We want to tell you about some breaking news that we first told you about at the top of the 4 o'clock newscast. 3 arrests have been made in the high-profile Amber Spradlin murder case. We understand a family news conference is just getting underway outside the Floyd County Courthouse, and if we can, we want to listen into that for just a moment.
She'll take a few questions. There's going to be some things you all are going to want answers to that we're not going to tell you because we're still moving down the road and we don't know what will happen going forward. This may not be the end of it, but I'm going to be pulling and tugging on her shirt if she says something she's not supposed to. So at this point in time, I'll turn you over to the family spokesperson. And you all know that Brandon Martin's back here with her, and he's been with us. Gary Salmons and Missy's hiding back here, but I can tell you I've been meeting with these folks every Wednesday night for the last year, and I can tell you they've really hung together because they've had the support of this community. Debbie?
Everybody, and before I get started, I want to say a big thank you to Mark from our family because he has been there with us every step of the way and helped us navigate and kept us motivated and kept us positive, and he promised us that he was going to see this through, and he has done that. We still got some work to go, but
All right, we've lost the signal there in Floyd
that are
County.
Responsible for her death, and those that are responsible for the attempted cover-up of the murder. But finally, as a community, we can feel relieved knowing that those who are responsible will soon face a jury of their neighbors and the penalties that the jury will impose for their crimes. Now, there are others who have yet to be charged criminally and as a result of their involvement in the attempted cover-up, and those who will only suffer from the civil suit, the civil penalties for what they've done. But each of them need to know that they will have to live with what they did to put into motion the events which resulted in Amber's death. Everyone to know that while they've been criticized heavily, Commonwealth Attorney Brent Turner, the Kentucky State Police, particularly Detective Justin Wireman, and the others that were involved with the investigation, they have been amazing. They were responsible for the charges which were returned by the Floyd County Grand Jury today, and they have worked tirelessly, hours and hours, putting all of this together, and they've done a great job. The reason for the time involved in this investigation was related to those who did everything possible to destroy the evidence. In the end, you will learn as the facts of the investigation unfold that Amber was responsible for the final clue which revealed those responsible for the heinous murder. And what is most revealing about Amber's death is that she brought together more than 25,000 people from Floyd County across the globe. These friends of Amber will not be satisfied until the jury marches back into the courtroom with a verdict of guilty against those involved in Amber's death and the cover-up of her death, including the destruction of evidence at the Arkansas Creek home of Dr. Michael McKinney. I would be remiss if I did not take time to point out those responsible for setting the events in motion.
All right, again, we've lost signal there. We're going to hold on this for just a moment in case we get it back. But you're watching breaking news here on WYMT. The person talking there is Debbie Hall, who is the cousin of Amber Spradlin, giving her reaction to the news today that 3 arrests have been made more than 1 year after Amber Spradlin's murder. M.K. McKinney is charged with murder. Dr. Michael McKinney and Josh Mullins are charged with complicity to tampering with evidence in the case. Again, I don't believe we may not get this back, so let's just come back to me if we can. And again, just to repeat the breaking news, we do have a reporter there shooting that news conference, and we'll of course have an update from Floyd County coming up at 6, but just to repeat the breaking news, 3 people arrested today in connection with the murder of Amber Spradlin. M.K. McKinney charged with murder, and Dr. Michael McKinney and Josh Mullins charged with complicity to tampering with evidence. Well, we also have some severe thunderstorm warnings going on, so we want to get you the latest on that too. Our First Alert Weather Day continues. Let's check in now with meteorologist Eric Dean for the latest on that. Eric.
That's right, Steve. Good afternoon. We do have 1 severe thunderstorm warning in effect now. This is for Campbell County in Tennessee. We'll go ahead and take a look here at live pinpoint Doppler radar, and we will pinpoint where that severe thunderstorm warning is in effect. This is just south of the La Follette area. Again, this is for Campbell County, Tennessee. This goes into effect until 5:15. 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, quarter-size hail are the main threats with this. And you can see the heaviest rain is now going across portions of the Cumberland Valley towards the Manchester, London area, and then from Somerset down to Monticello, seeing some heavy rain and lightning at this hour. So we still have that severe thunderstorm watch in effect for the counties shaded in yellow. This goes into effect until 9 o'clock this evening. Again, if you have plans tonight, make sure you have the free WYMT First Alert Weather app on your device to receive the latest information for your location. And then the areas shaded in green, so that's Campbell, Claiborne, Lee County in Virginia, and Wise County, that is a flood watch that is in effect until 5 o'clock in the morning as another round of rain is pushing through the area. Right now, we're seeing temperatures in the 70s and 80s. Some places seeing heat indices in the upper 80s, low 90s, even mid 90s, and that trend will continue as we go throughout the week. We'll talk about everything you need to know in the First Alert forecast in a few minutes. Steve.
Eric, thank you. Vice President Kamala Harris campaigns later today in the battleground state of Georgia as speculation intensifies about who will be her running mate. Harris is expected to make her choice in the next week, ahead of the Democratic National Convention, which begins August 19th. CBS's Natalie Brand reports from Washington.
Is ready. Vice President Harris has been battle-tested.
Considered a top contender to be Vice President Kamala Harris's running mate, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro is auditioning while campaigning in his home state against former President Donald Trump.
The chaos that he injected into our lives, we don't want to go back to that, gang. We don't want to go back to that.
Also in the running, Arizona Senator Mark Kelly, a former Navy combat pilot and astronaut, as well as Michigan Senator Gary Peters, a favorite of organized labor. The VP prospects representing key battleground states.
Vice President Harris has a lot of great candidates to look at, and we respect the process.
Monday, North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper crossed himself off the list, partly out of concern with internal politics in his state. The Harris campaign has said she's looking for someone with the experience to step into the job and be effective on day one.
They are creating an anti-family and anti-child society.
Former President Trump defended his own VP pick, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, Monday for his past controversial comments about people without children.
He's not against anything, but he loves family.
Trump is set to return to the battleground state of Pennsylvania Wednesday for the first time since the attempted assassination earlier this month. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Washington.
And of course, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear still in the conversation about a possible VP pick. Now, Senator J.D. Vance holds campaign events in Nevada this afternoon and evening. Well, 2 different Senate committees held a joint hearing to hear from law enforcement leaders about what went wrong at the Pennsylvania rally where a gunman tried to kill former President Trump. The acting head of the Secret Service arrived on Capitol Hill for the hearing, looking at failures that led to the assassination attempt on the former president earlier this month. Ronald Rowe told lawmakers he was ashamed the shooter was able to get on a nearby roof and fire off 8 shots. Local law enforcement had identified the gunman as a suspicious person about 90 minutes prior to the shooting.
At approximately 6:11 p.m., a local police officer was lifted to the roof by another officer, saw the shooter, and radioed that he was armed with, quote, a long gun. Within approximately the next 30 seconds, the shots were fired.
The shooter's motive remains unknown, but the FBI revealed they believe 20-year-old Thomas Crooks had a social media account with comments that were anti-Semitic, anti-immigration, and included calls for political violence. Baptist Health Corbin was recently recognized for its rural stroke care. The hospital received the American Heart Association's Get With the Guidelines Silver Award. Vice President and Chief Nursing Officer Sherry May says throughout the years, as medicine has evolved, they have been able to improve care.
We have improved our care with strokes because we've been able to provide this service. In the past, we had to try to ship everyone to Lexington, and now we don't have to do that. We keep most of our strokes here, and we can provide them with the what they call the clot-busting drugs.
May says they are continuing to find ways to improve the quality of care for their patients. Coming up tonight at 6, we'll have more in-depth on stroke care in rural areas. Coming up on First at 4, hotels are busy and buzzing in Paris for the Olympics, and some of the City of Lights' fanciest hotels are on display.
And we have a new severe thunderstorm warning in effect. We'll talk about that coming up in just a few minutes. Stay with us.
Visit